Dear students, today we are going to study about fluid mechanics, means a new topic, mechanical properties of fluid. You have already learned about mechanical properties of solid, in which I have taught you elasticity. So today we are going to study mechanical properties of fluid. Why it's in a different chapter? Because you know that solid has a property that it can acquire a definite shape, but liquid and gases have don't have that property. So that's why we have to study them separately to study about their properties and different types of properties. I will tell you. So firstly, if you come to the point of the properties of liquid or gas or solid. So if I want to talk about the properties of elasticity, as you know that solid has the property of elasticity, means if you apply any deforming force on the solid, then definitely it have tendency to acquire its shape, its configuration again if we apply force within elastic limit, and on the removal of that force it comes to its original configuration. So liquid actually liquid is you know that compressible, and it's not hard. Even it don't have liquid or gases have definite shape. So if it don't have definite shape, then definitely we can easily compress on the application of very small force. We can easily deform it. So means the elastic property of liquid and gases are very low in comparison to solid. Even you can say it's million times less than the solid. So if we will apply very small force on liquid, then definitely there will be a great change in the shape or in configuration of liquid. So simple fluid is what? If liquid starts to flow, when we apply any deforming force on it, the small external force on it, means due to the application of very small external force, liquid and gases start to flow in the direction of application of force. So this property, due to this property, we call it fluid. So here we have to go to study about fluid mechanics. So definitely fluid mechanics are of two types. There are two branches in the branch of fluid mechanics. First is hydrostatic and second is hydrodynamics. So what is hydrostatic? As you know that the meaning of static word is when any body is at rest, and meaning of dynamics means any body is in motion. So if liquid is at rest on the application of forces, means there will be some couple of forces in which net force on the liquid is 0, then at that time definitely there will be no change in the displacement of the liquid. It means it will not flow and it will be at rest. So that is the case of hydrostatic, means liquid is at rest. And the second case is if we apply any force on liquid and it starts to flow, liquid or gas both starts to flow, then definitely all that properties we will study in the case of hydrodynamics. So we have to study only two branch, hydrostatic and hydrodynamics. So firstly I will start with hydrostatic, then I will tell about hydrodynamics. So what is hydrodynamics, what is hydrodynamic properties of liquid? So before starting anything, firstly we need to know what is the property of fluid. Means which is the property which is different from the solid, so that we are going to study it in a different branch. First property, as you know that the liquid or gases are compressible, means on the application of very small force we can easily change its configuration. Second is that it don't have any definite shape. So that's why when we keep liquid or gas in any vessel, then it acquire the shape of that. So if we apply any force on the liquid, then definitely it will be deformed. So second, we are studying about the properties of liquid. Then definitely you know that when you put liquid or gases in any pot, then it apply some pressure on the wall of this container. So if it will exert pressure on the wall, then definitely you know Newton's third law, there will be reaction for every action. So definitely wall will apply some action, reaction opposite to this pressure or this force. So there will be, it means there will be change in momentum due to this application of force on the wall. So in the case of liquid exerts some pressure on the wall of the container, due to which there is change in momentum. As you know that if there is change in momentum, then definitely there will be application of some force, and if you will calculate force per unit area, then you will get pressure. Means liquid or gases apply some pressure to the container of the wall. So that is due to this reason we always make the container very rigid, very hard, so that after applying application of the pressure, it will not get any types of deformation in it. So this is one main property of liquid or gases, due to which we have a lot of effects, a lot of phenomena. Okay? I think this is clear. So main I want to tell you about this property. If we put a liquid fluid in any vessel, then it start to exert pressure on the wall. So how much pressure it exert, you can easily find out with an experiment. So before starting that experiment, firstly let's study about when liquid is at rest, then what will be the force, what will be the direction of force, and if we will immerse any solid on liquid, solid in liquid, then what will be the reaction of liquid opposite to that solid. So let's study about that firstly. So just consider, if we have a container which we have some liquid, and now we put some solid inside it. Okay, let's a solid block immersed in this liquid. So if definitely you will put solid on it, then liquid will start to apply some pressure, some force on it. I have already told you liquid apply pressure in contact surface with solid. So it is very clear, I will clear to you also. Liquid start to apply force normal to the surface of contact surface. Means if we will see this contact surface, then liquid will apply a perpendicular force, a normal force on it, and after application of this force, if body is totally immersed in the liquid, then it will be at rest, because all forces, all opposite forces will cancel out each other, and net if you will find out the net force acting on the body, then definitely it will be zero, and it means our liquid and our body is both at rest. So this is the case of hydrostatic, and in the case of hydrostatic, there is a equal and opposite forces on the body, and which was applied by the liquid. So what will be the force direction? Why I am saying that this will be only normal force? Why we can't take any force at any angle? And also you know that the liquid doesn't apply any tangential force. So we mean that it hasn't any tangential force. If the liquid will apply tangential force, then definitely body will start to flow. So in this case, that will be the case of hydrodynamics and also. But in this case, if solid is totally immersed in the liquid, then for that case, liquid will apply normal force on it, and definitely due to this normal force, equal and opposite force, the net force on the body will be zero, and body will be in equilibrium. Let us consider there is a force acting at angle angle theta. Okay, means when we place this solid in liquid, then definitely solid will apply some force on it, and due to, let's consider this is the direction of reaction of that force. Okay, so we can find out easily the components of this force, which will be F cos theta, and in this direction this will be F sin theta. As you see that this is the direction of tangential direction, or F cos theta. So I am saying that liquid is at rest, but if this force will be applied, then liquid will start to move, means the case of hydrodynamics. But I am still saying that liquid is at rest, so this component will be 0. Simple. Means liquid will not flow, so definitely this component will be 0. And the second component, F sin theta, will act on the body. It means liquid only exert normal force on the body, so that's why the forces are normal, not tangential, not at any angle. It only work on as the normal force. I think this is clear to you. Then liquid exert normal force on any solid when we immersed it in it. Now, what is the pressure of liquid? Means we also call it hydrostatic pressure. Hydrostatic pressure. So what is the hydrostatic pressure? As I told you, when we place liquid in any container, then liquid applies some force on the wall of the container. So if it will apply some force, then definitely there will be the reaction of this force, and due to this thing there will be net change in momentum, and due to change in momentum definitely we will get some net force. And if we calculate area of the body, then definitely, or wall, you can calculate area of the wall, then force per unit area will be equal to pressure. It means liquid exerts some pressure on the wall. I've already told you this. And that pressure is called hydrostatic pressure. Means when we put any liquid in any container, then liquid applies some pressure on the walls of the container, and that pressure is called hydrostatic pressure. I think clear है आपको? This is the hydrostatic pressure. Okay. So how can we measure this hydrostatic pressure? There is a very simple experiment for this. Let us consider we have some cylindrical form, a cylindrical container C, and there is a piston attached to it. And let us consider we have a spring of known force constant K. We attached it as, and this is the simple experiment. Now is this time मैंने इसको क्या किया कि किसी लिक्विड में नहीं रखा है, ठीक है. Now this is only as the experimental procedure. ये अभी मैंने सिर्फ एक एक्सपेरिमेंट लिया जिसमें क्या किया कि एक सिलेंड्रिकल फॉर्म लिया है, सिलेंडर लिया है, जिसमें एक पिस्टन अटैच किया और एक स्प्रिंग हमने अटैच की है. स्प्रिंग का एक पार्ट हमने क्या किया, पिस्टन से अटैच किया, एंड सेकेंड पार्ट अटैच टू द cylinder, okay, wall of the cylinder. Then this whole apparatus we have to put it in liquid. We have to immerse in liquid of which we want to calculate pressure. So जिस भी लिक्विड का आपको प्रेशर कैलकुलेट करना है, आप क्या करें, इस एक्सपेरिमेंट को, इस पूरे apparatus को आप उसमें इमर्स कर दीजिए, ठीक, सिंपल. So when you will immerse this in any liquid, then definitely a liquid will exert some force on it. So due to that force, piston will be compressed, because this will be, if this will be the force, direction of force, then piston will be compressed, and due to which there will be compression in this spring, and due to this compression you know there is some displacement in the spring. Let that displacement is x. So if there is displacement x in the spring, we can calculate force in the spring, which will be kx, F equal to kx. So this is, I think, clear. So we can easily calculate how much force liquid is applying on the on this whole apparatus or on any body. So for simply we have to do one thing. Firstly, we have to put this apparatus in liquid, and definitely liquid will apply some force on it. And due to this application of force, piston will get some force and feel some pressure. And due to that pressure, there will be compression in this spring. And we can easily measure if we attach any scale or to it, or we can measure what is the displacement or what is the compression in the spring. So if we know the compression in the spring or displacement in the spring, then we can easily find out force exerted on it. So this is the force exerted by the liquid, and if we will divide it by area, then we will get hydrostatic pressure. So this experiment is very easy. We have to only calculate displacement in this spring, compression in this spring, and after that we can easily calculate hydrostatic pressure. So this is clear, I think. For this experiment, piston must be frictionless. So this is ideal condition. There may be some friction, but mostly we have to do one thing. Then friction must be very less. So you have to keep that in mind, because if there will be some friction, then definitely some part of force will be reduced due to frictional part. So I think if some force is reduced by friction, then definitely the force we will measure, it will get reduced, and we can't know exact how much force liquid is applying on it. Okay, or you must have to know that what is the friction of this frictional force of this piston. So if we know friction of this piston, then we have to add friction to this force to get exact value of force. Okay, and now if we will do calculate force per unit area body, then definitely we will know how much pressure liquid is applying on this whole apparatus or any body. So this is the method to calculate hydrostatic pressure. Now what is the application of pressure? So normally there are a lot of application of pressure. One by one I am going to tell you. So first application is that you know the handle of suitcase and bags are made large. Why? Why? Or broader. You know that the handle of suitcase is broader. Actually this is made broader because of the pressure. If you will not make the handle broader, then definitely there will be a huge pressure on our hand. So we have to do one thing. For the reduction of pressure, we have to increase area of that thing. So that's why to increase area, we made the handle of suitcase broader like this, so that if we will carry this suitcase, then there will be a small pressure application on our hand, and our hand will not be in painful condition. Clear? Second application is that you know that railway track laid on a large wooden iron or cement sleepers. Why? As you know that train can apply a large pressure on the track. So if we will not use any wooden or iron or slippers, then definitely there will be yielding in the surface or yielding in the earth. So to prevent that yielding, we apply some we laid some wooden iron or slippers. So it means that when simple, we have to know, we have to keep this equation in our mind, F equal to F by A. We have to only make area large, means when force apply on any body, then it must be applied on the larger area. If we will see the track, then definitely if there will be application of pressure due to train, because the mass of train is large, and due to that there will be some quite large pressure, and if we will not give any wooden block in it, then definitely there will be yielding in earth. So to prevent that yielding, we gave larger area for this application of force by using slippers, by using wooden or iron slippers lying under it, like this. We use something, and after that we made laid track on it. So if there will be some application of force on it, so definitely this force will be applied on a larger area. So due to larger area, pressure, the net pressure will be reduced down, and definitely due to reduced pressure there will be no yielding in the surface of earth. Okay. A third example is that you know that it is painful to walk barefooted on sand, or we are unable to find to walk on the barefooted on sand. Why? When we apply, or when we want to walk on sand, then definitely sand has yielding property. When we apply pressure on it due to our foot, then definitely due to this pressure sand will yield down, and we were unable to that time we are unable to move on. So to prevent that yielding, and if we want to walk on sand, then for that we laid wooden block on the sand. So definitely why we do that, we did that purpose because we want to make area greater. Again the same process, we want to make area greater. So if we, for the application of our force, for the application of this force, there must be some larger area. So if there will be some wooden block, then definitely the area of this block is quite greater, and if there will be some application of force on this larger area, then definitely there will be reduction in pressure on the sand, and the sand will not yield at that time, and we can easily walk on that sand using wooden blocks. Okay. Next example is that it is also barefooted to walk on the road covered at edges or pebbles, edge pebbles like this. So as you know that if there will be some small area, then definitely there will be huge pressure. Again the same concept. If our foot apply large pressure, greater force on this pebble, and the area of pebble is smaller, then definitely there will be huge pressure, and we can't move on barefooted on it. So if we want to move on, then definitely you have to done something, so that area must be greater, and that's why pressure should be reduced. So same thing you have to keep in mind where the application is only that we have to, if you want to reduce pressure, then we have to make area larger at any place. Some more examples I can tell you. Pins, we use pins or nails. So if you see the edge of pins or nails, then it is of smaller area. So if we want to use pins or nails to click it in on the wall, then definitely we need a smaller area so that there will be larger pressure on the wall and we can use it easily. So these are the application of pressure in our daily life, and there are a lots of other application you can easily find out at that. Okay, only the keep in mind, if you want to make pressure greater, then definitely you have to make area smaller, and if you want to make pressure in a smaller in a reduced way, then definitely you have to make area larger. Okay, clear? So next topic we have to learn, which is density and relative density. This is all the conceptual topic. Firstly, I have to teach you about that. What is pressure, what is density. After that, you can easily find out so many relationship with this. Okay. So what is density? Simply, you all know that density is mass per unit volume. Okay, simple, mass per unit volume. So this is the simple formula for the density, and if you use unit of this, then this in MKS system this will be kilogram per meter cube, and in CGS system this will be the gram per centimeter cube. So I think this is clear. This in which I don't have to say anything. I will again in future I will tell you about what will be the density of mixture of liquids. So that will be quite interesting topic, but I think normally density is simply what is the mass of that substance per unit volume of that substance. Okay. Second, the property of density is that density will be always positive, because you know that mass is always positive and volume will be always positive, and due to these both quantities, density will be also positive. This is also scalar quantity, as both quantities are scalar. So this is all the properties of system. Second, what is the relative density? So if we want to find relative density of any substance, then in case of liquid, if we are immersing it in liquid, then for that relative density will be density of that substance to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. For example, let us consider we immerse any substance in water. So what will be the relative density? So simply relative density will be density of that substance to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. As you know that we measure accurately the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius, so that's why we take this for the relative measurement. Okay, I think this is clear to you. So what is relative density and what is density? This is only conceptual formula, that's why I am not going very deep in that. So now next, what will be the mixture of density of the mixture of the liquids? So let's see that. So let's start. What will be the density of a mixture of substance for so many conditions? So the first condition is that if we have different densities and different masses of two liquid and we are going to mix them together, then what will be the resultant density or density of the mixture of that substances? So definitely we know that density is what? Mass per unit volume. So we can easily find out volume of first substance, which will be m1 by rho 1, volume of second substance, which will be m2 by rho 2. So final volume will be v1 plus v2, or we can write simply density of mixture m1 plus m2 upon v1 plus v2. In place of v1 plus v2, you can put this thing if you know the different masses and different densities of that two liquids. So this is first case. Second case, if we have same masses but different densities, we don't know what is the volume of that substances, but we know the different, so we know the mass of that substances, means their masses are same but their densities are different. So if we will put m1 equal to m2, then definitely we will get this relationship. Means simply if we know the densities of that two liquids, we can easily find out the density of mixture of density of two substances, and definitely we can find out the density of mixture of that substance. Okay. Third case is that when we don't know what is the massage of the two substances, then in that case, and if one more case is here, if the volume of that two substances are same, means volume are same but densities are different, and don't know what is the massage of that substance, so we can write in place of m1 plus m2, m1 will be v into rho 1 plus m2 will be v into rho 2. Simply keep this formula in your mind and you can easily solve all other things. So you can find out easily mass from here, which will be v into rho, and simply upon v1 plus v2 means 2v, and after solving you can get easily, means in this case the density will be simply average of two densities of that substance. Okay. The next case is that if we have so many substances and of different volume and different densities but don't know massage of that substances, then in that case the density of mixture of that substances will be this, means m1 plus m2 plus m3 upon v1 plus v2 plus v3, and m1 as we don't know what is m1, m2, m3, then we can write down in terms of volume and density as this. Okay, I think this is clear. This will help you to solve numericals, and also this will help you to solve use it in your daily life when we mix two or more substances, and if we want to know what is the density of the mixture of that substances, so we can easily find out if there are 4 cases, and if any case meet with that conditions, then definitely we can find out. Now let's know some facts about relative density. There will be a concept of specific gravity which is related to relative density. So let's see how. Let's study about what is specific gravity. This term will comes into the play when we immersed any body in any liquid. So at that time we know that also the concept relative density, what is the which is the ratio of density of substance on density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, so specific gravity is also equal to the numerically value of the relative density. If you know the relative density, then numerically specific gravity will be equal to that. But the definition of specific gravity is weight of body in air to the loss in weight of body when we place it in water at 4 degrees Celsius. Simple. If we want to calculate specific gravity, then for that we have to know what is the body weight of body in air, and how much the loss in the weight of body when we immersed it in water at 4 degrees Celsius. Water at 4 degrees Celsius. Okay. And simply I have told you about that the density, it's numerically equal to the density of relative density of that substance, or you can also find out it from here, because volume will not change, so definitely you can find out the it in the form of density also. So what will be the formula? Density of body in air to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius, means we can find out specific gravity in 2 ways. If we know loss in the weight or weight of body in air, or if we know relative density or density of simply body in air to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. So we can easily calculate specific gravity, which will be in, if we want to put down it in formula form, then definitely it will be rho upon rho w. So this will help you to solve so many problems. In next class I will tell you what is the role of specific gravity when we immersed any substance in liquid, what is the significance of relative density, why we have to study that. So you must know that why we are studying any topic in physics or in any subject. So I will tell you that in next class, then what is the significance, physical significance of specific gravity, and what is the physical significance of relative density. So let's end the class here.